Did I catch you back at work, or you're still completing the last bits of your holiday?
No, no, it's full work. It's been full work for a while. We're still at home somehow. Try to get to like technically the office are open, but it's not great to be there. Like it's a little bit of strange period like for everyone. How's everything going in Johannesburg?
We have been back at work for just over a month now. 2 days ago, we had the president deliver the State of the Nation address because all of us are just waiting to understand whether this vaccine is going to work, how much is going to be bought, and who will be first in line to receive it. So there's a lot of apprehension in the air about our ability to vaccinate people so that some level of economic activity can return. So that's the one piece. The other piece is you have all these stimulus packages that have been created, but the creative industries are excluded from those essential services. So we're seeing a lot of pain in the sector. Big agencies, small
Mm.
agencies, independent practitioners like ourselves are feeling the brunt of just the economic slowdown. So on a scale of 0 to 10, if you were to ask, where is our joy, we're probably at a 4.
Okay, okay, wow, okay. Not
Which
an easy moment.
No, 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 not at all. Which is why I think having a conversation with you almost gives us permission to feel happy again, because the the what has become clear for me is that until government and leaders acknowledge the role that creative practitioners can play in problem solving, will continue to just circle the wagon, as it were. So I'm excited just about hearing what's been keeping you up at night and how the role of the foundation may or may not change given what's happening in the world. Do you know what I mean?
It's funny enough. Now, one of the consequences of lockdown and working from home is that internet at home went significantly lower because there is much more traffic than
Yes,
before,
yes,
in the
yes,
same area.
yes,
So
yes.
the issue that normally we would have like in around 7 p.m.
Yes.
Now now it's throughout
It's
the
throughout the
day.
day. It's
I
now
need to
throughout the
figure out a
day.
way to upgrade. Yeah.
It's now throughout the day. So where do I
Okay,
find
maybe.
you? Are you in Milan?
Yeah, I'm in Milan. Yes.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay, you were saying
Yes.
something. You were
And
suggesting something.
no, I was saying like I'm gonna try. We can try from here, and if I see that the line is not good enough, is it okay if I maybe switch on the phone?
Yes. Yes, we can just pick up from
Okay.
from wherever we drop off. It will be fine. We can fix it in the edit.
All right. Fantastic.
Good stuff. So I guess to be very organized, I have to say thank you because I got to you via nice work, and you were so gracious. Literally from a LinkedIn request, you were available, and I really just appreciate the pace with which you have been open to just engaging. The work of your foundation, we understand a little bit based on your conversation with Ross, but naturally, I'd love to hear it from the horse's mouth, particularly if there are new things that are presenting themselves as a challenge, um, and how you might be balancing your original intention with what's emerging in the marketplace now, given how the world is trying to adjust to cocoa, if that's not a difficult lead in.
Well, it is difficult, but we're gonna give it a try.
Okay, good.
Um, no, and first of all, I mean, so thank you for reaching out. Um, Sometimes back, and right from the beginning, I had the feeling that it was something interesting in what you do too, and the more we started speaking, and the more I was eager to hear the conversation. Uh, So there was no effort from me on my side.
Thank you.
Everything came very naturally, organically. Um, so a little bit about the Moleskine Foundation.
Yes.
So the Moleskine Foundation, it's a relatively new foundation because we created it in the end of 2017. So
Yes.
so from a certain extent, we are still in that startup phase where we have a lot of ideas and we change a lot of ideas and we do a lot of rethinking and that stay at the center of pretty much our everyday conversation as a team.
Fantastic.
I also though say that we are a relatively new foundation because actually the Moleskine Foundation was created of a previously existing foundation that in Italian was called Lettera 27, Letter 27,
Okay.
that it was called the Unconventional Cultural Incubator. And for around 10 years, worked around the world with a specific focus on the African continent in the space of culture, in a space of art, to somehow work in the idea of increasing access and sharing of information and knowledge.
Awesome.
So we are this kind of strange and hybrid experience where we had all this baggage of experience at the same time. We are well, we had to rethink the way we operate and the things we do.
Yes.
I use this word rethink because it's a word that I like, and I think it's something that now is becoming. If before it was something that it was only related to specific moment in the life of the organization, now I think that the capacity of rethinking it's one of the most important human skills and organizational element that
Yes.
because obviously the world is changing at the pace in which we need to have that agility of not only of action but also again of conceptualizing and reconceptualizing things.
Mm.
So it's a word that I like. But let me tell you a little bit about what we do at the Moleskine
Yes.
Foundation. So we are all about creativity for social change. That's pretty much what we are focused on. We started from this idea and from this, I would say, very naive, a little bit marketing oriented question 3 years ago. There was, can creativity change the world? But sometimes, these simple questions, when you get to that, when you take them seriously, that can really give you the lead for interesting thoughts and conversation.
Yes.
So out of that, we started a research, and basically, we already have seen that in the past few years there was a completely new role that creativity and creative skills were starting having in international conversation. And if we fast forward to today, you have organizations such as the World Economic Forum or various agencies of the United Nations like UNESCO that put creative skills at the top of the scale of skills that any person and any citizen should master. Recently, I think a few months ago, it came out the top 10 skills needed for the future of work of the World Economic Forum, and creativity and creative skills is right up there, with critical thinking, with lifelong learning, etc. So now something that some years ago was kind of niche and a little bit new age and a little bit, something like this, now it's mainstream.
Awesome.
At the same time, when we look at that and we look at, okay, we know now that these are important skills, who have access to programs that teach those skills?
Mm.
And the answer at the moment is pretty simple. The very few of the world, the top 1%. There are very few people who can have access to systematic programming and educational offer that can foster skills such as critical thinking, creative doing, lifelong learning, and a change making approach.
Mm.
So, so, so within that space, we have decided to take this challenge as the Moleskine Foundation to really develop experiences, educational experiences, and programs that have fostering this skills by giving specific access to young people coming from underserved backgrounds.
Okay.
And that for us was extremely important because we really believe that through by making sure that most of these tools are available to as many people as possible, and especially to people that normally don't have access to these tools, we really have the chance to transform communities. And I think that something is important. Not when I say transform communities, not us as the Moleskine Foundation,
Yes.
because we're not going to transform nothing by ourselves, but by somehow making sure that we fulfill our mission by giving enough tools and support the creation of spaces where criticality and imagination can accord, so that we can build our collective future.
I mean, that I guess that's also part of why when we listened to the podcast with Rod, I was so super excited because everything you say resonates with what we do in our practice. So in our practice, we often say that we problem solve through creativity and collaboration. So the first piece is the piece around creativity being not just a capability that you have because you know how to draw. I mean, if that were the scale, I wouldn't be a practitioner because I can only draw a cat when it walks away, not even when it's coming towards me. So that's the first piece. And then the second piece is this idea that when smart, well-intentioned people gather, that we can effect change and advance humankind. So I'm hearing you say something quite similar about the programs from the foundation are intended not only to just grant access to young people, but to convert that access into a capability that helps solve pressing problems. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. So something that I like to say, because I have the pleasure to have one of the co-founders of the Moleskine Foundation and the president of the Moleskine Foundation, Maria Sebregondi, who is this amazing woman who was also the creator of the Moleskine brand. She's a poet, and she has a very interesting expertise and interest herself in the origin of words, in the etymologies of words, and the lecture that she gave, she opened up, uh, uh, you know, um, an interesting discourse about the origin of the word creativity,
Mm.
and creativity has an interesting starting point because it starts from Sanskrit, kar, and kar, it means doing.
Wow.
It means doing. It means fabricating. It means creating.
Yes.
So you can see that how the origin of the world creativity it's connected with the doing. Not only that it is specifically connected to a specific type of doing. It's a type of doing that is somehow related to how can I say to a doing that is generative of something else. So you generate things, and that's really starts. It's within the true meaning of the word creativity. So when, as you said, when people say, oh, creativity, oh, I'm not creative because I don't know how to draw, or at the same time I am creative because I'm wearing pink socks.
Yes.
No, this is not what we are talking about. The word creativity, it really has, it has all its value within the origin of it, because it is also a specific doing that is connected to a specific sense of time. You know, there was the Asians were looking, especially the ancient Greek and Latins. They were looking at two different type of time. One that is linear, you know, is a linear thinking, and it was a time connected to contemplation, you know, and also the concept of knowledge connected to contemplation. And then there was another concept that it was connected to knowledge in terms of um, doing, in terms of action, in terms of making things happen in the right time. So creativity is connected to the second part of the meaning of knowledge. Yes. So this means that creativity means doing something that generates things at the right time. So that transfer really, like, all this idea that creativity, it's really about doing something that matters. It is connected to knowledge, and it's connected to our action, and it's connected to basically to a deeply transformative action. Creativity means to use your own knowledge, experience, and sensitivity in a transformative way.
Yes. Yeah.
So when we get into this, I think that the value of creativity changes drastically from the way sometimes than the way that sometimes it is portrayed.
Yeah.
You know, as just something frivolous that either you have it or not have it. No, this is one of the most important skills that nowadays everyone, young people in particular, but everyone needs to have, needs to possess, and needs to master, and needs to nurture every day, in order to be an effective citizen.
That is true.
You know, and I would say an effective citizen in a sense of somebody who take part to the community.
That is actually very true. But and what you've just said is actually so powerful, because I love the idea of creativity as the source for, or an energy that channels towards transformative action. Because part of what we see, particularly when we listen to politicians down here, is a misunderstanding of creativity as a frivolous pursuit, right? Versus creativity as a critical skill, which I guess is my next question to you. How much success has the foundation had in converting old school thinkers into new age leaders? Because until we can effect a shift in belief at those levels where society is directed and budgets are channeled, those of us who are in community will continue to struggle to find a seat at the table.
Sorry, could you repeat the last part? Is just a matter of line. The question, I'm sure it was clear. It's just the line that was not that great.
No problem. The second piece was how much success. So it was, how much success have you had in converting leaders, I guess, into this new way of thinking, of understanding that creativity truly is an energy that drives transformative actions? Because until we can, those of us who are practitioners in societies such as South Africa will continue to struggle to find a seat at the table.
Yeah, no, I got it. Yeah, you know, interesting enough, I think people, and especially leaders, get it right away. On a theoretical base, they get it right away. They understand, you know, because most of the time, people who are in certain positions, they are creative people, even if they don't know. and some of the skills that they develop are skills that, or let me put it this way, the skills that put them in certain positions many times are soft skills that are connected to that are in the creative realm, instead of the hard skills. So when you, and especially nowadays, considering you know, the way the world has changed, it is pretty simple to make people understand how much this is important. The hard part is to how to make it happen at a large scale and how to make it happen, in at a societal level.
Yeah.
That's complicated. That is difficult because normally people will say like, yes, I get it. I get it. I'm with you and so on and so forth. But so what?
Yes.
And that so what? It's now a tough. It's not a difficult answer. So for that part, then you're going to meet. At least I've met leaders that has the vision and the capacity to say, let's go there together. Let's make it happen together. And just to share a name in South Africa, I have the pleasure to work with and now somebody who's a dear friend. This is Robbie Brozin, who's a co-founder of Nando's. He's one of those people. Yeah, he's one of those people that they're like, no, they don't even have to convince me. I know it. I'm with you. Let's go and make it happen. All right. It just happened right away. And then you have other people who have a little bit more difficulties because they are afraid and they say, oh, but how do I measure this? Or how would my constituency will react? Or what about if this? And so I think that we are in a phase in which we just put our art at peace and say, let's concentrate with the early adopters, using like a marketing term.
Yes.
With people who get it, who has that vision, who share that vision, and let's start creating action, activities, initiatives, programs that showcase in a practical term how creativity becomes, the main ingredient to transform society. And in that phase, we're going to learn. We're gonna be able to have a stronger capacity to generate impact, to measure it, and so on and so forth. But I think that this is, something that each innovator somehow faced to a certain extent. I can give you a practical example that comes from the Moleskine company.
Yeah.
Around 25 years ago, when Maria started with the notebook,
yeah.
Selling a notebook for 20 euros or 15 euros, it made no sense for the market at the time. If you would go and try to convince people who didn't get it from the beginning, it would have been almost impossible.
Yeah.
But the capacity that they had, Maria had, was to find the community who understood the importance of writing,
yes.
the importance of culture, the importance of creativity, on expressing creativity. They had the right tools to express what they needed to express.
Yes.
And with them, they built a collective experience that then it was not about anymore convincing people, but it was an evidence that it was imposing itself.
Awesome.
And I think that is where we are now, working in the space of social change and creativity. We need to find each other. We need to understand who our community is. We need to understand, who our original group
yes.
of early adopters
yes.
and visionaries are.
Yes. And
then we need to do stuff, because creativity is about doing things. So we need to do things, and then it will be an evidence that it follows itself.
And I'm chuckling because actually just before you and I got on this call, I just missed a call from Robbie because he's invited me to work with him on something on Constitutional Hill, and he truly, your experience of him is accurate because I have Nando's as a client in the practice, and your experience of him and just the complete Nando's team is true because there's a brand that's always held itself only to its standard of telling truth to power in the most enjoyable and provocative ways. And there's something else that you've said, which I really, really buy into, this idea of working with the willing, because sometimes we lose so much time just trying to convince people, like just trying to drag them to church. Whereas perhaps what we should be doing is just truly, truly just preaching to the converted, because that groundswell is what will help us create the evidence we need to demonstrate the impact of creativity. That makes a whole lot of sense to me.